The recipient of this year's Engineering Project and/or Achievement Award is Natural Resources Canada for the Port Granby project.
My name is Ajit Guman. I'm the manager of the Port Hope and Port Granby long-term waste management facility. I work for Canadian Nuclear Laboratories as part of the hazardous waste program and the Port Hope Area Initiative, which is essentially a cleanup of low-level radioactive waste in the Port Hope area and local area here in Port Granby. So historically, there was a uranium refinery that was operated by a Crown corporation, El Dorado, in the Port Hope area. The purpose of this refinery was essentially to take uranium ore and refine it down into a product that could be used in both energy and weapons at the time. Through that process to create that highly refined uranium, there were byproducts of waste, a lot of it low level, that needed to be disposed of. And about 500,000 cubic meters of that material was stored at the Port Granby Waste Management Facility, which is the area that we remediated as part of this project. The project really was comprised of three main parties. CNL, who was the overall party responsible for executing the project and managing the project, and is the owner of the site. AECOM, who was the engineer of record for the site. They were the ones who did the actual design of the wastewater treatment plant and the long-term waste management facility. And then the third party was Wood, who was the main constructor for the facility.
Hi, I'm Blair Greenlee. I'm with AECOM. So AECOM's a full-service engineering firm with an enormous footprint, $13 billion a year company, about 4,000 people in Canada and north of 50,000 staff worldwide. So the size and breadth of the organization was really key to being able to deliver this type of project with staff and resources and deliver, a project, an international level project, here in Ontario.
When you're looking at the technical design of the mound, it starts off with a clay liner, geotextile liners, high density polyethylene, and various other layers to essentially create multiple layers of protection for the waste layer that's essentially in the inside. And that forms essentially the big pocket of material that makes up the mound. The same thing happens on the cap, where we have another layer, several layers of granular, high density polyethylene, again, to form the actual water barrier, and then several layers of fill over top to essentially create shielding for the waste that's in the mound, and then all of that is encapsulated and closed off once the relocation of waste is complete. The water treatment plant was a key piece of support infrastructure for the project. Its role was to not only capture any of the impacted water from the excavations down on the south site, any of the water that fell down into the cell during the remediation, or any other impacted areas on site. That water was collected and then treated before discharge out to Lake Ontario. The water that's leaving and being discharged out into Lake Ontario is essentially meeting drinking water quality standards. The main phases were construction of the waste cell itself, which was going to be the place where that 500,000 cubic meters of waste was going to be stored. Once that was complete, the remediation process began, which involved construction of a dedicated haul route underneath Lakeshore Road and an overpass for Lakeshore Road above that dedicated haul route. The key factor there was minimizing the impact to the community, allowing public traffic to continue without any obstruction from the project, and ensuring that none of the waste that was transported from the south site to the north site was ever traveling on public roads. Once the construction of the baseline of that roadway was complete, the remediation began. CNL, AECOM, and Wood were able to successfully remediate the south site. Post-completion, the area was regraded, and we're now currently in the restoration efforts, which involve significant plantings and overall restoration of the area to return it back to a natural environment.
My reaction when we were informed that we won the award was surprise and exhilarating and a bit of pride, and so it was really a humbling moment.
It's validation for all the effort that was put in by CNL, Wood, AECOM, and the collaboration between the community and ACL to really successfully execute this first-of-a-kind project.
The recipient of this year's Engineering Project and/or Achievement Award is Natural Resources Canada for the Port Granby project.